Welcome to Cool Factor Cards.
What's up, guys? Today we are talking card show. Let's say you're going to your very first card show, you want to know what to expect, some strategies to go into it. I think one of the best things you can do is talk to somebody who's been there before. And we brought in an expert today, the expert, Josh, who I met at a card show. You and I made a deal or didn't make a deal? Got close to making a deal.
We did not make a deal. You were tough to haggle with. Appreciate you saying that I'm an expert here. I've done a handful of card shows in my day.
Learned a couple of things.
I think that term, you're using it a little loosely, but I appreciate it.
So
glad to be here.
If you're talking to our audience today, you're prepping to go to your first card show, give us some advice of what we can do to prepare.
Yep, so we're going to do buy side and sell side because I've been on both sides of deals. We're going to start today as a buyer. So when you're a buyer and you're going to a card show for the very first time, first bit of advice, not rocket science, you probably heard this 100 times over, get your you-know-what out of bed, get to the card show early. I always try to be there, one of the first few people in the door, because that's where you can get some of the best deals.
That I can speak from experience from. I think everybody's anxious to make that first deal, whether they're on the buyer or the seller side. But I think a lot of dealers are like, I need to get either my table covered or I need to get that first deal to kind of like break the seal, right? What's next on the list?
Yep, so second thing, if you're a buyer, go in with a plan. So if you know, I want to target football cards or basketball cards or baseball cards, depends on the time of year, maybe the playoffs are coming up or a season's about to start. If you're going there with a purpose, especially to buy things to try to sell or grade, you're gonna want to try to target things that are in the off season, right? You can get a better price that way.
Okay.
You don't want to buy at the peak. Same thing, you don't want to buy a stock at the top of a trend, right? You want to buy low, sell high.
Let's say you're not trying to time the market and you're not trying to be a good investor necessarily. I'm just a collector.
Well, if you're just a collector, you already know what you like, right? I don't have to teach you what you like and what you look for. So if you're a collector, there's a completely different experience. You walk around and you just find what catches your eye. If you like something because of the story, because of the way a card looks, because of the player, you know, the team, it doesn't matter. It could have historical significance to you, you know, in your background, your childhood. It could just be something that you just like the way it looks.
You know, I gotta say, as somebody who's set up, like, there's these cards that you run across every now and then that you're just like, I like that, and I know nobody else will understand it. And I'm always a buyer on those weird things, and dealers have weird stuff at their table consistently.
Yes.
It is. It's definitely true. I think that there's like intermittent weird tables for sure. Like you have the ones that are like specifically one thing sometimes, and then you have like kind of like a shoddy table.
Well, there's like the vintage.
It's got like a little bit of everything. I mean, we saw like a T Swift with Travis Kelce.
Yeah. See, but that's an
because
impulse
the Super Bowl was coming up. It's like, really? Like, I don't know. You see some weird, quirky things.
That is someone who takes it to the max. So the custom Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce card thing that's been going on recently, don't buy into that.
It's a real thing, though.
Don't buy into that.
Let's hope that they don't like break up, you know.
Oh my gosh.
I will say
crossed for those people.
That is the type of stuff that I'm personally often on the hunt for. I saw on eBay this past week, and my finger is on the buy now button, a Field of Dreams card. That is Kevin Costner, like the movie poster on a card. Is a pay-per-view promo. Thing sells for like $5 and everybody wants $20, and I was like, I want it. I want it.
They're saying if we,
but at a card show, like if I came across something like that, like I'm that buyer for sure.
Yeah,
But that's where it gets dangerous. Like having your plan, and I see that, and I'm off the plan.
Yep.
Quick.
No impulse buys. Try to be calculated. Second part of having a plan, have a budget. Don't spend too much money. I don't know how many times I could say this. Yeah, this one over here. I know. I've seen you at shows.
She always.
Yeah.
I'm the worst. She's
She's the one who goes with a certain amount of money and then comes back to me halfway through. It's like, can I have a couple more bucks?
Yeah, it's terrible. You do. You get kind of sucked in to the atmosphere.
Well,
it's terrible.
So you've got your budget. You've got your plan. You get in early. You're in the door. The next thing you got to do is understand who the dealers are. So a lot of these dealers are professionals. They're there because it's their business. Some others are people who are there for fun, like me.
I think this is such a good topic that we could probably talk about this for half an hour.
We probably could.
Like, so really we're talking about is like identifying the types of dealers that exist. So you got your professional dealers, you have your hobbyists, like your collectors who are just setting up at shows, and then, quite honestly, I feel like you also have like your retirees, which is an entire other demographic. But then even within those demographics, you have your professional dealers who are there to make transactions happen, and there's the professional dealer who's trying to take advantage of you quite often. So let's just say you're going around the room and you got all these people. How do you poke at a dealer to figure out who they are?
Yeah, some of this just takes experience. What I personally like to do is I pick one card that I know really well. Let's use a Shohei Ohtani Topps Chrome PSA 10 rookie. I know it's $200. I can guess it'll be on at least a half a dozen tables at any show I go to. One might be $200, another one might be $225, another one might be $400. I'm never negotiating with the guy that has it listed.
That's kind of like way overpriced. Like, how much is this? So you're figuring out what the card is.
Yep. So if I know it's $200, if someone is priced at or just slightly above comps, I know that we can have a conversation that will be productive. If someone is...
This is smart.
Well, you learn through trial and error. The people that try to buy your cards at 50% of comps and then sell them to you at 200% of comps, nobody wants
like that guy.
Nobody wants to work with that guy.
No.
And I just don't anymore. I used to.
Nobody in the room even likes that guy.
Nobody wants to talk to that guy.
And if you don't like that guy, like this video right now, because we're going to just point that out. Nobody likes that guy. Don't be that guy. Okay, so you're basically pointing out, like, having a litmus test, like a...
Yeah.
Like, it's like having a baseline for the table.
I mean, imagine you wanted to go buy a car, and you know that the Kelley Blue Book value of that car is $50,000.
That's it.
And
That's
you go, and it's
point.
marked for $200,000 on the lot. Are you gonna even negotiate, or are you just gonna go to the next dealership?
That is a really good point. I like that point of view.
So
for sure.
it's just the easiest way to really quickly judge the way a conversation will go without even having the conversation.
That alone is such a big nugget that I think could really help people
That's
at
super
shows.
valuable.
It's not even like you may not do a deal with that person at all, because you might find out that, oh yeah, they're priced appropriate, but they don't have the card that I want. But the amount of time that I feel like that could save you going around a room, that alone, the time saved is pretty valuable.
Yeah, because it takes a long time to look up comps, to negotiate, and then to not get a deal.
Yeah.
Right? I've done that many times. An hour at a table, then I walk away with nothing, just frustrated.
Not only that, I think this is a great guide for parents and your kids. I mean, you don't want to go and
The
get
kids think scary.
and totally get snatched up by someone because they really want a card. Say it's an Ohtani card. You don't want to go and like think it's the best and then have your kid walk away and spend your whole wallet.
That's
you know?
actually, like, the kids topic could be, oh my god, we should have an episode that's just how to take kids to card shows.
An episode for parents is a good idea.
That's actually really good. So stay tuned, because we're going to do that. Because I will say, taking your kid to a card show is a completely different experience.
No.
And there are dealers that are like, I want to treat your kid. And there's the dealer that is, I want to take
advantage
of your kid. Oh, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
We've already discussed this.
We should talk about this on the seller side, because I do have thoughts on this. But let's close out the buy side first.
Okay, so what's next on your list?
Okay. So general strategy is target the dollar boxes, so you can get some really, really good
Love
deals.
dollar boxes.
Now, my personal strategy, what I like to do, is I walk around the entire show and find the people that have 90s and early to mid 2000s cards. That's my personal sweet spot. What I like to do is go through the dollar boxes and look for rare sets but bad players. So there are sets. I'll use an example. Do you know a cut above, the one that's shaped like a buzzsaw or a die cut?
Yep.
They sell really well. I bought a Joey Galloway, not the most desirable person, for $1 out of a dollar box. I took it, I sold it for $35.
Wait, hold on. Why pick the most undesirable player?
Well, because first of all, if you can find desirable players, you can take those, but they're not going to be in the dollar boxes. The dollar boxes is where you can find the sets that people chase that are more rare.
Okay.
Oh, so
But
that makes
the
sense.
players that are in there tend to be worse.
you have set builders of sets that you know are going to be desirable, that you know carry a little bit of value.
You want to find things that are a little bit more rare. So I mentioned the cut above die cut. Some other things that I've done, Topps Chrome refractors for Hall of Fame players. Kurt Warner, Junior Seau,
That's
Daniel
always been my
Tomlinson.
strategy. I feel like getting any refractor or serial numbered Hall of Famer is probably not a bad buck.
Right, but most people that are at those shows aren't chasing those things, so you can get a really good deal if you buy in bulk. So I might go buy what's stickered as $150 worth of cards, but I could get it for $75 because I'm taking all that out.
Sorry. Even the concept of making an offer on a bulk deal is actually a really good tip. Don't, if you're going to go through a dollar bin, don't pay, I got 10 cards, it'll be $10.
Yeah.
Throw them a number.
You can negotiate everything. Sometimes you can just say, what's the best you can do on this? You don't even have to put a number out. Now, usually when I do that, if somebody says their number, I go, ooh, I was really hoping to be insert price X, which is usually lower by a significant amount. And then we find something in the middle. I didn't spend all that time to not buy those cards, so we'll find a price no matter what. But for me personally, I find the dollar boxes are where I get the most value. I get things that I just like a lot for a really cheap price. And I can also find things that if I want to grade it and eventually resell it, you can do that too.
Grading random dollar things is actually a total strategy. But there's another one. God, you have so much good value here. There's one that was like hidden in there, which is negotiate. I think there's value in practicing your negotiation.
It's hard.
Like, we have to recognize, you mentioned buying a car earlier. Some people like the haggle and some people don't.
Yep.
And there's probably value to know that this is your haggle opportunity. Practice. Like, just haggle with somebody. What you got?
I watched this firsthand.
Oh, God. Me?
I watched someone haggle the heck out of you.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
And he haggled you to the point that you actually gave him, I think, below what you had at sticker price stats because he gave you such a hard time. And it was something for like you ended up selling it, I think, for $60. But you haggled with the guy and you're like, because you haggled me so good, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I generally am pretty easy to work with at deals. The best thing, if you have a child who is an experienced haggler, there's someone in Charlotte, we have to put their Instagram handle in the description somewhere. I can't remember what their name is, but it's a father and son. Son is maybe 12 years old, ballpark guess.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Literally one of the hardest negotiations I've ever had in my entire
it.
life. And sometimes dealers just cave because they're like, you know what? Like,
I love it.
What am I gonna do? Like, we either are at a total stalemate or I just give in.
Yeah.
And I have never won a haggle.
I feel like I'm the believer.
But I've lost plenty.
I'm the believer that you should haggle almost every deal, unless you know they're giving you a good deal.
See, and I've tried to haggle, and I guess I suck at it because I don't ever get anywhere.
But I do think there's a skill in knowing when to haggle because, for example, I recently bought a Trey Lance Prism Green Pulsar PSA 10 rookie. It was stickered for $40. I know that comps are about $75 right now. Why would I haggle on the rest of the lot?
You're just wasting your time at that point. You could sour the deal.
Right. So sometimes I'll buy things knowing that there's one or two cards that are underpriced, and I'll just take it for sticker or really close to sticker price because I already know I have some intrinsic value based in for other things.
I have that experience too. There was a dude who had a card that was like $75.
Yep.
I know the value was about $75. He had it listed at 60, and I was like, I'm not going to insult him by negotiating even further. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows what he's got. You know, he had everything perfectly labeled, and it was a Mahomes card. It wasn't like some obscure thing. Like, the guy was trying to move a card. Let him move the card. Buy it.
Yeah.
You know, he's already given you a good deal.
Do you know who also I've negotiated with before, who's a child, who is a very good negotiator, is the kid in the suit.
You've actually met him?
At Culture Collision or Dallas.
For real?
One of those, yeah. I sold
There's
him.
this kid on YouTube that's like the kid in the suit.
Yeah.
It's like his whole brand. And he's like, what, 13, 14?
He's probably like 15 or something now.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what show it was, but like we were at one of the bigger shows and I sold him a Curry Prism Green numbered to 5 as like a PSA 10. And I think I was into it for maybe like 400 or 500, and I was trying to get maybe 7 for it because there weren't really any comps. And I brought it over to him, and he asked me what I wanted for it. I said maybe 1,000, and he was like, "Yeah, no." And he was,
how old is this kid?
He's like, at the time he was probably like 14, and and he just looked at it and he's like, "I'll give you $600." and I knew I wanted to move it. And I was like, come on, I can get to like 8. He goes, no, $600. He was like, $600. I'm like, 7? He's like, $600, dude. Take it or leave it. and he was such a good, like a very firm handler.
Goodness.
Now I knew that I was making money on it anyway, so I didn't really care. But I thought the style.
I was just saying your numbers. It sounds like you still made money, but
yeah, I knew that I wanted to make more, but I was
story.
having a tough time moving it, so like I figured $100 or $200 profit, like whatever.
I love that it was just like no, $600.
Yeah, shout out to the kid in the suit.
What's next on the list?
All right, last one is a 2-parter. First part is buy what you like. So you go into a card show, you see something, it catches your eye, you want it, just get it. Don't be scared if you have to pay full comps, right? Everybody wants a deal, 70, 80, 90% of whatever the current value is. But sometimes you have to pay that 100% because you might never see the card again.
That's fair.
Sometimes you might even have to pay a little over comps depending on how it's stickered. So be okay with it.
I've been that guy.
You gotta go do what you gotta do to get the card that you want to get. So be okay with it and feel good about it, but it's something that you probably would want to keep in your collection.
Especially the obscure stuff. I feel like if you have that PC that's like, you know, this is my team, that player that I know is not liquid, but it's numbered out of 5. I'm not going to see it again.
Yeah.
I've bought that card.
Those things, those gold vinyls.
You're a sucker for those cards.
Yeah, of course I'm a sucker for those
you love
cards.
you love the story on all these cards too.
He does.
Yeah.
He really
the Taylor
does.
Swift 1 of 1.
Oh,
yeah.
no, please.
Yeah, I especially feel like gold vinyls and 1 of 1s are things that if I ever see the players that I'm looking for, I'll buy them in a heartbeat.
I feel like especially 1-on-1s. I only have. Do you have 1-on-1s?
I have one 1 of 1. It's a Jalen Hurts.
Oh, that's right. That's
black
right.
1 of 1.
I have 3, but all of my 3. What? That wasn't like a 1-up. My 3 are obscure players. I have Ramondre Stevenson, who was a running back for the Patriots, and I have Andre Ethier, who was right fielder for the Dodgers, and Matt Kemp, who was center fielder for the Dodgers. Yep. Each one of them cost me $30 to $40.
Yeah.
But they're my players, and the whole thing, it's a 1 of 1. It's literally, I will never see this card again. I'm happy to pay the $40.
Can I shamelessly promote something to all of your YouTube fans out there?
Yeah.
Whoever has all the Julian Edelman Prism Gold vinyls on eBay, for the love of God, they're not $800 to $1,100 cards. I would buy every single one of them if they were like $300-400
For a fair offer.
$300-400 per card. I'll take every single one. That's like in the ballpark of Larry Fitzgerald and other great wide receivers. Like, just sell them to me, please.
This is actually looping all of the advice together really nicely, which is you have a target. Clearly.
Yes, I know what I want.
You've identified your dealer.
And you know what you want to pay for.
Maybe you should tell the story. Just tell the story.
With the cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to the guy who owns multiple of these Edelman 1 of 1s.
On eBay?
On eBay. We were messaging back and forth. Nice guy. He's a veteran. Thank you for your service. But like, he's trying to buy a new house and he's trying to maximize the amount of money that he could get. Nice guy. We had a good conversation. But they're not $800 cards.
They're overpriced.
They're overpriced. And nobody's going to buy them at that price, but I would buy them at the actual price.
Or even slightly over, to give your point.
Or even slightly over.
What's the comp on a card like that?
It's hard to comp.
1-on-1s you never can comp perfectly fairly.
So...
Like if you were to guesstimate.
So ballpark estimate, probably somewhere between $250 and $400 per card, depending on the year, the condition.
So if he was like, hey, yeah, $500. Cool.
I'd probably take it for $500.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely not $800, and there are a couple in there that are at $1,100.
So you're trying not to be irresponsible while at the same time being very generous with your offer. I get it.
Yes. I'm always a very realistic buyer. Always. I try to not get taken advantage of. That is a key. But you buy what you like.
That's good. Do we have anything else?
Nope.
I would actually like to know what your Instagram handle is so that way people can follow you, ask you questions.
Sure, yeah. I guess this means I have to make my Instagram a little bit more entertaining than it has been the last few months, but I'm the Card Fox on Instagram.
Like any underscores, nothing, just the Card Fox?
At the .Card Fox.
See?
There you go.
Don't forget the dot.
For what it's worth, I don't think the dot actually changes anything when you search, but but if it does, yes, there is a dot in there.
Nicest guy ever. I'm sure he would answer any of your questions. He's great.
Would love to help anybody who's interested in getting into collecting and
being a part of the community.
I would actually say my piece of advice would be, if you're new to the hobby or even just finally taking it seriously, get yourself a mentor. Find yourself a community, somebody who you can turn to with questions, somebody you can turn to for advice. That's become super duper valuable. I believe that's, and this is for life, you should always have a mentor and you should always be a mentee to help somebody coming up behind you and then look to somebody that's above you. I think it's really good advice, whether it be family, business, hobby, whatever it is. So thank you for everything you've done for me and my family and my hobby. That's cool. Back to cards.
Thanks for having me. I'll appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.
See you at the next show.
See ya.